Okay, welcome everybody to August's Inspiring Tales, where I talk with interesting and inspiring people from the world of animal wellness and hear their tale. So many times we have been inspired on this journey by animals, and everyone I talk to has an interesting story. And I love stories. We all love stories, don't we? So, this is how I like to share. And tonight I'm really, really happy to have here with me Joan Sorita. She's coming from the other side of the ocean, crossing the Atlantic tonight. Um, and she's what I consider to be one of the good people in the USA because there's so much misinformation out there. And Joan, I know, is passionate about what I call real wellness and real aromatherapy and animal care. So I'm really, we've had a long kind of familiarity with each other, but we've never actually sat down and talked. So this is a wonderful moment. So, Joan, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored. I'm so excited and I really like the fact that you said I'm one of the good people in the aromatic world because sometimes you think you're all by yourself here. So
It can be a lonely old
yeah,
world sometimes,
yeah,
especially in the USA, because
yeah,
the situation over there is so much misinformation is
right.
being disseminated, isn't it? I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah,
made it to Europe as well, but not in quite such a big way. So,
right. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so anyway, so tell us, Joan, a little bit about yourself, where you are, and how you got there.
Oh gosh. I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make I love stories too. And when I teach workshops, and I always tell my experiences with like the herbs or the oils that I use or body work. And I give examples, and those examples are stories that I've literally lived through myself. And I think that's the best teacher. Um, but uh, I'm going to start back where I first learned about wellness with animals. And some of you know this that know me, but I used to work for Olivia Newton-John for many years. We've been in each other's lives up until a couple of weeks ago when she passed away. Um, and we had a sick horse on her property, and we were waiting for the vet to come, and it didn't look good. A terrible colic. I didn't know anything really about any of the plants, so she introduced me to massage, and we were able to at least try. We were thinking, trying to help the animal just calm down until we could get the vet there. And that whole event started to make me think that perhaps there's more to helping animals instead of just using mainstream medicine. So when I was working at Olivia's place, I had access to wonderful veterinarians in the holistic world along with the mainstream world. I had events to go all over the globe with her and meet a lot of people, a lot of healers and people that worked with animals. They did body work, they did horsemanship work, liberty work, um, and it was a whole new world that opened up to me. So I have to give her credit, even though I've always loved animals and I've always loved watching their body language from a very young age. Um, that's where I truly was inspired, and that was 40 years ago.
Wow.
Um, so a long time, and we were in California at the time, and I got married, and my husband's father got ill, so we moved out to Morongo Valley in the high desert of California, and there we turned his nursery into a rehab center with for horses and dogs. And there I started learning more about herbs and homeopathic work because I had a veterinarian that stayed on our farm in California. And she was taking a course up in San Francisco to become more of a holistic vet. She was more mainstream. So I started traveling with her, and we did some seminars. I'd do the body work, and then she would teach on the homeopathic strategies that you would use. Um, then after 15 years of that, we decided to move up to Seattle. My husband became techie in the techie world. I know Julie Duke's husband is in the same field. And I said, you know, if I'm going to be in a new place, I've got to seek out the best bodywork person that I know up here. And I did. And we became partners in a school. I helped co-found the Northwest School of Animal Massage with Lola Michelin. And we fought hard to make that school happen. They were about to shut down all the body workers in the state of Washington. And there were 4 of us ladies who got together and went to all the vet board meetings at the Capitol. We talked with the vets to say, what can we do to help keep the really good body workers doing their job with these animals? And therefore, we had a lobby guy who was on the racetrack. He helped us, and we got Governor Locke to sign the bill within 6 months, which was unheard of. And they said, you need to go to a human massage school, and you need then to take our course, which was 150 hours, and being a vet tech, or 300 hours if you didn't have any background. And that's how that all happened. But through teaching through the school, I got to the point where I left for a while because I needed to go out into the field. I felt that my teaching skills needed to be backed up by more experience. So I went out into the field for 25 years. Not to say I didn't teach at the school. I would go, teach here and there when I went in there. But by teaching out in the field, you come across so many different scenarios. You find that each case, each animal that you come across is individual. Even, the species has different body language. So you really, body language, being able to know how to identify certain signs within an animal really helps. What I learned more about is that I got into situations, and it was more on the show world, the performance, equine performance world, where some of the horses didn't want to be touched. And what am I to do? They call me out for body work, and it wasn't about the money with me. It was more about, I was there to help the animal regain balance, feel better, have a better well-being so they could carry on with their job. And I slowly learned that aromatics was one of the great tools to use to bring animals around that are shut down, they give up, they're depressed, they're on stall rest, and maybe need some way to come out of boredom. Wound care, thrush, making clays, and with aromatics, just so many scenarios. And I think it also, the aromatics help the animal actually open up. I don't want to say their heart because I don't know, but they do open some energetic channel up to where their brain's processing, let's say angelica root. And if I've gone through a bunch of essential oils and the animals aren't responsive, I'll go to angelica root, and or I'll go to rose otto, because they seem to open up a place in an animal where all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm processing this, I get it, and I think I can let down to you. So, and just by watching their eyes get soft, the whole demeanor of the animal changes. They become more relaxed. Their breathing changes. It's just incredible.
It is.
And
It never
so
gets old, does it?
it doesn't, because it's always so different.
Yeah. I want to
Mm,
ask you just a couple of questions.
yeah,
I just want to back you up for a second here.
yeah.
First of all, so with your school of massage, is that
Hmm.
like that that's hands-on massage? Uh, don't you do acupressure there as well, or
We
isn't
do
that?
now, yes, with
Yeah.
Kim Bauer. She came from
Okay.
Tallgrass.
All right. So you started out
Yeah.
as you as a as,
Right.
with the
Right. It
straight.
started out with Lola and I and $5,000.
Right.
And we wrote a curriculum and everything got advanced. You Things are online now, but you can get her course in hard copy. I helped write the first curriculum with her and tried to do illustrations. Um, I'm not very good illustrator. She thought I did a good job, but I don't know about that anyway. Um,
But
and
that's how it was back then when same
yeah,
as starting out. It was all just patching it together, wasn't it? We had to
yeah,
keep it up
yeah,
as we went along.
yeah. But then at the end of all your studies, you have to come for a whole week of practical.
Yeah.
And
'Cause-
we go through all the hands-on, all the massage strokes, the pathology, kinesiology, range of motion, the mechanics, all that.
yeah, it's the sort of thing you can't really teach well online, is it? The massage, the
No,
actual hands-on part, the
yeah,
physical. Yeah.
because it's so organic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can read about it, that helps.
Yeah.
It's like aromatics or hydrosols or the herbs. You can read all about it. But when and I've done that, and then I go out like with dogs and I'll work on a session, and it's like I feel like I'm a failure. I'm either choosing wrong oils or I'm not reading them right. And I've learned through the years that no, it's just that I didn't take enough time. I really need to study a bit more and know the oils and why they work, or the hydrosols, maybe start more subtly, know the health history, things like that. So
Yeah.
it's, like I
Yeah.
said, it's
So
very
how
individual.
did you actually run into aromatics in the first place? How did you get to the aromatic
Ooh,
part?
well, I hope people don't hate me when I say this. I learned from doing it wrong.
Yeah, well,
And
many people do.
yeah, then this is my pet peeve. I network marketing just destroys a lot. I mean, there's some good of it, but the majority of the network marketing is I have a distaste for, not the business part of. I mean, I understand all that, but the education with the oils and how they're used properly. But so my partner and I went down to the desert and we learned from a veterinarian who was with, I won't mention the name of the network company oil or network marketing with their oils, but she taught us how to do the raindrop therapy. And we thought, oh, we're learning from a vet. She
Yes,
knows
that's
best.
yeah, yeah,
Well, she was just learning herself.
yeah.
And we didn't know that. So we were all excited. We went home and we were working on really high end hunter jumper horses. I mean, we're not talking like $5,000 horses. We're talking you start from $120,000 on up. We had serious clients. And so we decided to do raindrop therapy, and we had a terrible experience. We did raindrop therapy on a gray horse,
Oh dear.
put him outside an hour later, and we came back the next day and he had burnt, singed hair drops all the way down his spine on either side. We were mortified. We didn't know what we were going to tell the clients. We contacted the vet, and this is the answer she gave us. Oh, well, that's a normal response. The inflammation is going to help realign the spine. And I just went, exactly. I said, nah. And you know what? That's what inspired me to go, we got to stop this right now. This is very bad information that's getting out there into the world. And And I think that they need to take responsibility for things like that.
So there you go. Good comes out
Mhm.
of bad because,
Yeah.
that's the thing. There are a lot of people. Like, I was invited in the early 2000s, at the beginning of the whole MLM thing. I was invited by a group of vets from who were all involved in the first company
Hmm.
to come and talk to them, and it was great. I thought, and I'd never heard of that before. But afterwards, sort of 50% of the group came with me, and 50% had these. I basically had hate mail from. They were,
Oh
it was
boy.
like, do not talk to this woman, sort of thing. So I always say, but 50% heard the new information, they've understood it. And there's a lot of people that get into the oils through that, and then they
Hmm.
further educate themselves. So,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's really annoying. It is really
Right.
annoying, but
Well, I guess
you
good
know,
good did come out of bad. I was one of
exactly,
those people who
exactly.
came
Yeah.
out of it.
And you've come out as a great advocate for doing it the right
Yes.
way. So
Yeah.
that's, we learn, isn't it? As long as we're learning, that's
Yeah,
the point of life, in
absolutely.
my opinion.
Right. And I will say that today, to this day, there's so much more research out there with the animals. Well, and due to people like you and Carolyn Ingraham and
And
other
yourself.
people and myself, right?
Yeah. So yeah, so great. That,
Hmm.
that's how we get there,
Yeah.
and how we move on. And nowadays, so you're still involved with the massage company. You're not actually actively working on the body
I
work yet.
am
Sort
I
of.
am retired from going out into the performance world. My daughter took over my business in 2017. I was going full speed ahead. We had 35 horses a day at shows
Oh,
that
gosh.
we were dealing with, and I was doing hands-on work. We had cold lasers, microcurrent, ice machines. I do the NES. I'm a NES practitioner with the scans, energetic scans, and then that would help us locate certain things on the body we could center focus more on. And we use the aromatics all the time. But 2017, all of a sudden I got a phone call. I was teaching a class at Northwest School that I had a life-threatening rare blood disorder and that I needed to get to a doctor right away. And I ended up teaching the rest of the week. My husband came down, my daughter came down with me and stayed with me at the school. Then we went to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with AML leukemia, and I was given 3 months.
Wow.
And this was in 2017. I decided to go for a bone marrow transplant because we had just bought our farm and I was not going to die. So I went through this barbaric procedure where I did almost die in the hospital. I started to suffocate. So,
Oh my gosh.
but here I am, and I have um, 10 horses here that are all my old clients, retired show jumping horses. So they're here to live out their life with me. And I'm able to use a phenomenal farrier woman who comes out who knows biomechanics and does phenomenal work here and is very open. She's a nutritionist and knows herbs as well. And I'm still working. I have so much that I'm doing here. I'm doing workshops, not tons, but I do workshops on my farm. But my thing is to keep these animals balanced and healthy and happy. And now I'm getting horses sent to me that are, one was sent to me that had literally a nervous breakdown. So he came and we got him all sorted out. He's off his ulcer meds. He doesn't pace frantically anymore. And we convinced the
Fantastic.
people that he cannot go back to work. So he's here to live.
Good
for the,
job. What fantastic work. I mean, it's so important. It's so important for these incredible horses who give so much to have a place that's a refuge for them. Well, it's
yeah.
totally, I got tears in my eyes.
Oh,
I love it. No, it's something that really bugs me is the way
yeah,
the attrition that horses suffer with
right.
from their lives, and giving them a place to, that somebody in the world, I mean, there's lots of people, but
Right.
whenever I hear
Yeah.
somebody who's giving those creatures a home, those wonderful creatures a home, I love it. I love it. I love it that they're there in your hands and being cared for. And the
Oh,
aromatics
I
are
I love it
amazing.
too. And it kind of keeps me one foot in the
Yeah,
performance
of
world.
course. Yeah, it's beautiful. Now, I have a question very specific to you that I get asked a lot. Um, Aromatics and performance horses, yes or no? Do they get picked up on drug tests? Can we use aromatics on horses who are actively on the circuit?
Oh, I'll tell you, that's an easy question to answer. They do not get picked up on drug tests if it's inhalation only. A few oils may come out in blood tests, but I'll tell you what, they say that to scare you.
Yeah.
Um, they even say you can't use flower essences. It will come up on drug tests. It will come out as tobacco testing. It's not true.
No.
So no, you can use aromat. I know people get scared about that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
not by inhalation because
That's
it gets out of their system way too fast.
yeah. That's good. I'm glad because that's what I've been saying. But I don't work on the performance
Yeah,
performance side
yeah.
because that's just based
And we have to
on
because we work
biology.
on the Grand Prix level, the
Yeah.
FEI, and the Olympic committees. So we have to keep up with my daughter especially now.
Yeah. Are there any oils that you
So.
do avoid anyway, just to be on the safe side?
At shows,
Yeah.
well, if we if the horses go into the FEI tents the night before they're going to show, we make sure we just use the oils before they go into the tents because we don't want to be liable for anything. And they rest that night. Um, so and they can't use anything except for I think they won't even allow cold laser anymore here in the US. But they will allow a class 2, infrared and things like that. So what my daughter does is she goes in and just does kinese taping on them in the tents. You're allowed that,
Okay.
but they don't allow anything. So to answer your question about the oils, I avoid like valerian, vetiver, just the ones that are more heavily sedated. But then again, they go out of their system pretty
Yeah.
fast. They're
Yeah.
pretty volatile.
I agree. I tend to avoid valerian, for
Mm.
instance. And the other one in England, especially on the race circuit, to avoid is peppermint,
Oh,
funnily enough,
yeah, I can.
because people used to feed mint in England. Feeding mints as a treat is a big thing. Yeah.
Right.
And
Yes.
they got, I don't know, some years ago now, people got pulled up because it was a stimulant. So yeah.
Oh.
So
Mm.
just those are the two real safe side things. I don't know if it's
Uh-huh.
relevant anywhere else in England.
Huh.
Yeah,
Interesting.
cool, cool. I'm glad to have that from somebody who actually has worked with FEI
Yeah.
horses.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, so the other thing that you do on your farm is
Yeah.
you're making medicine, right?
Well, I you can call it that, I guess. Yeah.
That's what I say. I'm making medicine when I make a paralysis or something. I say
Right. You're in
I look out of
Portugal.
my
You can say
window and
that.
I see medicine everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And you're phenomenal about that. I'll tell you, I watched one of your videos when you're making your fly spray. So I love that one. Um, yes, on my farm, I have this passion to make flower signature essences because we bought this farm from an eye surgeon who passed away. And when he owned this place, and what he did was he would travel all over the world and buy all these type of peonies and irises and wisteria and all these type of plants and plant them. He was going to make this like chateau type of garden place here. And so I started looking up all the flowers and plants that are on this property, and everything here you can make flower essences with. And when I was coming out of recovery from my treatment, I asked Olivia's husband, John Easterling, Amazon John, who I don't know if you know Amazon John. He knows all about the Peruvian herbs, and he's a big Amazon herb guy. He told me, I said, I don't want to get cancer again. And I'm starting to feel a little bit, my mindset's changing. Is there anything that I can use to help me? I'm doing all the massage, I'm doing all this stuff, but I'm doing the aromatics, I'm doing everything I know. And he goes, yeah, he goes, you need to work on your bioenergetic system, and you need to make your system complete. So I learned from him, and then I started studying all the plants and what flower essences I could use. And so I went ahead and did that. And I have kind of a ritual now when I go. It's really healing for me. It's healing for the animals. It's healing for people. You can even give them to your plants while you're watering. And I am just so into it. I just love them. I mean, I do make a horse liniment. That's another interesting one that I just kind of did that through self-selection through the years. I offered herbs, and I dried herbs, and I offered hydrosols, and I offered essential oils. And I took the most popular ones that were always constantly selected when I was out working in the performance field with horses that would be really body sore. And I just put the liniment together, and there you have it. And when you put it on, it's not like absorbing or beagle oil when the horse smells it and they don't want it on their body. It's this one, they want to like ingest it, which I don't do, but they want to smell it and lick it, and they love it. So and it works very well. That's what I do there. Yeah. So those are two of my ones I can tell you about.
Plant medicines.
And the Australian Zoo actually picked up my comfrey flower essences, and they used it when they had the bad fires. They used it on some of the birds that would come in that were very burnt and bruised, and they said it speeded the time of their healing around 25%. So then they took it and put it on Kangaroo Island. So I was really happy about that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You've made it to Australia. That's fabulous.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. That's very cool. Okay, so we're coming towards the top of the hour here. If anybody has any questions specifically they would like to ask Joan, you can put them in the chat if there's anything. I just realized there's one thing I didn't mention, is that you're actually a fully qualified human aromatherapist as well, right?
Yeah.
Really,
I'm just Naha level 2. I don't really want to do clinical at this point in my life. I'd rather just dedicate my time to zoo pharmacognosy and other things. So
yeah. Do you use zoo farm with people? I do.
I do when I work with people. I do with myself a lot. But I mainly do it with animals all the time. I think it's fabulous. I don't think you can go wrong with it. I mean, it's important to know the chemistry, I believe, but you can't go wrong with the horse. I have this, and I'll do it real quickly. I do have a video on 2 pigs I have on my farm. And I demonstrate how fast these essential oils work with pigs in heat. And within 3 minutes, they're down on the ground, just laying there, very relaxed. It's amazing.
No, it is. It's totally amazing, and it is the whole thing with the aromatics and the self-selection. It just works on so many levels. It's not just working on that on the physiological chemical interaction level. It's
Mhm.
because it's sending a message, isn't it? This is one of
Yes,
the things that I love with the aromatics is that they're communicating, they're talking. The plants are
right.
talking,
They are. They
and
talk.
they sending their own plant message, but they're also carrying a message from us that I'm here, I hear you.
Hmm.
We, help has arrived, and that just it's such a
Oh,
strong
that's
message for
beautiful.
healing.
That's beautiful that you say it that way. It's so
Yeah.
true.
I think that's what hooked me. That's what hooked me on aromatics is the
Hmm.
message that they carry that they because before I got into aromatics I was training horses, um,
Oh,
retraining, doing a lot of
right.
problem horses,
Yeah.
um, and that's how I got into it. So that message and helping people to understand that they need to be there, present for their animals, is
Yeah.
underlies all my work. So that's what aromatics give us naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Joan, thank you for sharing your stories. Do you know of T-Touch modality? This is from Amy T.
I do. And I don't really use it myself, but I know a lot of people that do. And um, if you use it well, and it's a nice modality to. I think you should have many modalities in your toolkit.
Absolutely. It is so,
I'm
so
Yeah,
important. Yeah,
right. Not everything is not one thing is universal.
absolutely. It's one of the sort of underlying things I want to share with people is broaden your knowledge.
Hmm.
We need tools from all of the different areas, the
Yeah,
botanicals, the physical, the energetic, all of that
right.
stuff. It's
Right.
nutrition. Nutrition.
Yes.
So important. But yeah, Tea Touch is great. I mean, it's got some
Yeah.
really great parts to it.
Yes.
Got some really useful, especially for the learning. I prefer the learning part of it than the bodywork part of it myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
The sort of um,
Yeah, it has some great explanations
yeah,
of the theory.
yeah. Feldenkrais is one of my favorite
Oh.
bodyworks for myself. So
Mhm.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. Um, Now I'm going to ask you for your top tip, your very top tip that you would like to share with everybody here and everyone who's going to be listening to this for keeping our animals well. If you say there's one thing that is we can all do that is going to support well-being for the animals in our life, what would it be? What would it be for you?
What I do myself that I've learned is I would really love people to listen and just really be aware of what the animal is telling you through their body, and also be extremely open-minded. You think you got it all planned out, and you can block a healing by not being open. So,
That that is so good. That is so perfect because it's so true. It's like it's Zen mind, beginner's mind, isn't it? It's just
mhm.
letting the listening, hearing what's being,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
you're being guided. That's so
yeah,
beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah. Um. Okay. I have a little supplemental question here um about listening about body work. Really,
Yeah.
very particularly about body work. Um. So once you get involved with aromatics and self-selection, how did
Mhm.
that affect your way of working with the body? Did it affect it? Did it change the way you work
Oh,
on a
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It affects the respiratory rate, which I really like to get horses down, calm down. It stops them from getting really fidgety, so I can work on them. Um, oh, I mean, I usually will use the aromatics before I start my body work, because I find I can go, the horse or the dog is more willing to allow me to go places and use a lot more fascial work. I get quicker releases, um, a lot more. releases from the animal. So, I mean, it, I mean, I, I don't want to do a body session without it, because it helps that much. I will just say very quickly, we are dealing with the whole energetic, physical, emotional property for healing, with our medicines that we use and the modalities we do. And if you want to be really accurate and complete in your work, just dig deeper and treat the whole aspect of that being or species that you're working on. And aromatics covers all that. So,
Totally. Yeah. And also it helps us to see, doesn't it? Again, it helps us to understand um, where it's important for an animal for us to be interacting with. Sort of helps gives me clues. It helps me to understand what I'm seeing and where the priorities are.
yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's cool. I'm so happy to have sat down and talked with you finally after all this time.
I know, and I feel extremely blessed. I'm not just saying that. I mean, I can't tell you how much gratitude I have to be able to be on the show with you, and all the wonderful, amazing healing angels you have watching too.
Yeah, I know. It's really great. That's the thing I love about the lounge is like it's really totally a gathering of all those angels coming
Uh-huh.
here to support each other and to learn
Yeah,
from each other.
definitely all have one thing in common for sure. The
And
love
we
of animals.
do. We love our animals. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And all our little witchy craft stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna. I think that's it for today. Um, if anybody has other questions, you can always leave them in the comments below when this gets posted. The recording will be posted in the lounge, of course. Um, and thank you, Joan. Thank you for being here with
Thank
us.
you.
And
Thank you.
we'll connect again. I'm going to have to get you back to do a
Yeah.
special webinar on sports horses or something. I don't
Oh,
know. I'll
I'd
make
love to
up
do
something.
that.
I'll make
Okay.
up something.
I'll be ready.
I'm very good at getting people roped in.
Okay, I'm
Okay,
excited.
great. Thank
All
you,
right.
everybody. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
being here with us. Thank you,
All right.
Joan.
Thank
Talk again.
you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.